Hello friends, welcome to my channel SushantChessWise. Today we are at the next topic of planning in chess. Basically this is continuation of our previous planning lessons, but here I am going to show how to make a plan and how we are able to decide whether the plan is right or not. So when we have any position at hand, we will see we are in the which stage of the game. Let's say we are in opening, then our plan will merge with the opening principles. Same way if we are in the end game, our plan will merge as per the end game principles. Or else we will try to use some specific feature of the position and make the plan merge with these factors. So let's quickly look at this example and see what I am talking about. So this is the position in hand. It is white to play. Firstly, when we look at the position, immediately everyone tells me that see white has two passed pawns, okay, and white is also a pawn up, so white should be winning, right? Very good, it's true. And black knight c is blocking the c pawn's advance by placing itself on c6. This is called blockade. And black also we can see has a passed pawn on the a file, which can become dangerous when it advances. So seeing these factors, one will say that we are in the endgame, right? So we want to use endgame principles like centralize the king. And secondly, we see that rook is behind the passed pawn. So that is also favorable for us. The problem here is the knight. So white sees that he is pawn up. See, this is the special feature of the position. As soon as he notices that he is pawn up, what is the main idea? We want exchanges. So white thinks of eliminating this black knight with his own knight, and the plan hence is to trade the knights here. See, we want exchange also, we want the knight on c6 to go away as well. So white identifies two places, either e5 or d4. From these 2 points we can attack the c6 knight. Since e5 is unsupported, see white goes with the move nb5. The knight is heading to the c important d4 square from where the trade can happen. Black plays rook d8. See, the rook relieves itself and it wants to come to the 8 or the c8 squares, one of them. So my next question is, can white play the move nd4 straight away? I am giving you the move, but do try to calculate and decide whether nd4 is good or bad. We cannot just say that okay, we will have a pass pawn after knight d4, ed, rook d4, c6, and the pawn will advance. So let's give up the pawn. So this much calculation itself is not enough. We need to see more. Let's see. White plays nd4. Firstly, let me show you if black insists on blockade with rook c8, then takes, and king f3. King quickly hurries to the attack of the rook on c6. Okay, g6, ke4, kf6, kd5. Rook c8, and here the very important move, see kd6. If white plays c6 hastily, then see ke7, and moreover now c7 is blunder because of king d7. So white cannot push this pawn due to kd7. But this position is also good, but it will take more effort. But if white plays kd6 here, he is simply winning. He threatens c rook f2 check, driving this king further away, and then play c6 kd7. So black goes rook d8 check, kc7, but ke7, c6, and you note now there is no defense whatsoever to see kb7 followed by c7 and the c pawn winning. So the rook will have to be given up for the c pawn. White is winning there, of course. So black took nd4, ed4, of course rook d4, because the rook has time to go to d8 and come to c8. If black would have tried the move a, then see simply c6, a3, and white has to be careful here not to play c7 instantly. c7 will allow rook c8. So see d5, and now see rook d5 blunder due to c7 winning on the spot. So black goes rook d4, c6, of course. White has to be careful with the pawn moves. Rook d8, and now next important point, the whole thing is based on this calculation. Should white play c7 or he should first bring his king to f3? The hasty c7 see will cost half a point here, because after rook c8 now king will start going towards the c7 pawn, but see after kf3, a4, ke4, a3, kd5, white king is one move short, and now see after a2, rook a2, rook c7, the game is just drawn. So c7 was blunder. So white plays kf3 here. Now he will have the time to protect the c pawn. So if c kg6, then ke4, kf6, then c7, rook c8, then kd5, and see timely kc6 here to whatever ke7, kc6, and next you see after a4, rook check, first driving the king away. Even the move kb7 here straight away was also winning. Slightly white should prefer taking the king away and go kd7 or b7 both, and the c pawn c prevails. So winning for white. Black goes a4, ke4, a3, and once again a critical moment. But by now white was really prepared because he already played his king, so he knows here c7 is of course blunder because rook c8, kd5, a2, same line takes pawn. And after c, even the move rook a2, which I think no good player will make here, just comes the strong move rook d6. I am showing you different techniques. This time the black rook will come behind the pass pawn. Now see after rook a3, c6 was going, and c7, rook c6, rook a3, rook c7 is once again drawn. So k e5, good move. Now the king and the pawn c have reduced their distance. King is just one step away. So now c7 followed by kd6 is possible. So see after the move rook d3 here, which is the best option for black rook, the black rook now wants to harass the white king. So after c7, a2, rook a2, rook c3, this was the plan. Get the rook behind the pass pawn, white will go kd6 and start giving checks with the rook. This is generally the Philidor's idea. The rook keeps on harassing with the check. The king generally has to come and hide in front of his own pawn and then block the checks with the rook and then move the king away. This is the so-called Lucena's idea. So let's see here after rook d3, white goes kc6, rook check, kb7, rook b3. Normal would be kc8 as I showed you just now. The rook can then move to d2 and king moves and the pawn promotes. Okay, but here the simpler move king a8, because after rook c3 there is the move rook a7. New idea here. Same plan but slightly in a different way. After kg6, kb8, rook check, the rook simply interposes. See, different way of doing the same thing. The rook again blocks the check smartly. And see, after trade of rooks, its pawn will queen and white will win the game. So black resigned after rook a7 in the game. So you saw how important it is to combine endgame strategy here with the plan. And the plan was what? To make use of the extra pawn, that was to trade pieces. So this way, if we can combine two things, our planning becomes easy. So this is how white was able to choose the right plan in the game. I hope you are enjoying these lessons. Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.